Heard some really nasty things about me. Like this guy's, oh yeah, you'd be surprised. So, and don't get me wrong. I mean, people leave weird stuff in reviews too. But when you hear it and they forgot that it's recording audio. That's the funny thing. All right, so let's kind of go through a quick demo. You guys can all see me in that picture, right? I'm red, orange, and yellow. So really, what we're looking for here is the blue and black, which is around me. We want it to move on its own. So we want it's black cold, white hot is the way this is set up. So those blue and black spots, hopefully we capture something that's moving or taking shape of some type. Is this my most active tool? No. We need to have it at the ready. It's one of those pieces where I'm not going to catch it if Kathy saw something and then all of a sudden we turn the camera on and we've already missed it. We need to have it on at all times and have it at the ready. So, are you interested in this, birthday guy? Yeah? Is this something you'd be interested in? All right, cool. Kind of wanted to give him first dibs. So, it's a cell phone. Very simple. It does have the cell phone buttons on it. It is insured. No worries if you drop it. Not a big deal. However, I am more worried if you hit that red square on there. If that red square turns to a circle, let me know. That means I have to splice some video together for you guys. That way you guys have all one video. So you will hold it horizontal just like that all night long. It does go to YouTube first, and I transfer it over to my website, so all of your data is in one spot. Fair? All right. We're going to dive into spirit boxes next, because there are going to be several different types being used tonight. Spirit boxes. When I see 3 different types, they all do something a little bit different than the next one. So these are ways for us to communicate with the dead. So this is going to sweep through FM radio stations at a very quick rate. If you're a TV show fan or YouTube videos, you know that this is the white static noise that Zach Bagans gives you. We're going to give you the phrase on the screen of what he thinks he heard. We're going to do that in real time. But mine is set up differently. It is set up slower on purpose. I want the radio chatter to come through. I want the DJs, the song lyrics, the commercials. I want that stuff. If you hear it, it's a 50-50 shot. We can tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history I'm talking about, or something going on with one of us. I just never know what I'm going to actually get. So in the event that I capture something tomorrow morning in your analysis, I will give you the audio point of what I caught, and if it's relevant, I will give you why it's relevant and a backlink to show you where I got my information from. There's no hiding anything. So, I watched your name already. Lauren. Lauren, you're going to be my spirit box this one. The cool thing about this one is it's going to record, obviously, but it's going to record even when it's on mute. It's recording right now at a nice even level, so that way when we get it back, you guys don't have to go crazy with the volume, like, oh, she turned it up here, she turned it down there. It's also not going to record any outside noise. We're not going to know what questions that Lauren is asking. So, again, can't hear you other than the answers. You have one button to worry about. If you feel along the top of it, you'll feel a wheel, not the buttons, but the wheel. The wheel is the volume. Okay, so you'll control the volume. Let's continue on with spirit boxes. So we need one pretty much on every team, right? Let's see. This one does the exact same things that Lauren does, only it doesn't record. I normally put this with the team that has the thermal imaging camera because it does record audio. So in the event...
Courtney.
I'm horrible at names.
Okay.
I'm the guy who can't remember his own characters. I'm a writer. I have to go back and check them. So this guy, Courtney, I'm going to set it up to where you only have one button to worry about. But in the event you're close to an imaging camera, hopefully it'll pick up with what you're hearing. You also have one button on the side of the speaker. So this should face you at all times. On the right-hand side, you simply hold it up to get some volume. It's a gently hold, and then gently hold it down to go ahead and turn it down. You'll want to keep it down when I'm talking and telling stories and whatnot. Okay. So, let's see here. One more spirit box. This one's a little wonky. Ready? It's going to go to Rachel. I don't know why I'm remembering Rachel's name and nobody else's. Alright, so this one's going to give us a word from time to time in the center of the screen. Just like that, and then it's going to save them to a list. You guys are going to get the entire list back. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you about this list. 80% of it doesn't mean a damn thing. This thing's meant to be a game and a hoax. It's meant for basically college drinking game, whatever you want to use it for. It's the other 5 to 20% that will be relative to the location, just like the other two fear boxes. Location, the person, or one of us. So I'm going to clear off last night. They had, I want to say it was about 70 terms. And you are literally just going to be letting me know what the terms are from time to time. The way you get to the list is the little calendar to the right of the word, and then circle back. Very simple. The two of you can actually use those in conjunction, because you never know what the answer is going to be. All right. Mom and Dad, am I safe to assume that? Right? Okay. I just don't want to call people. That's easier than trying to remember who's who. All right. So with you guys, this is where things get a little weird. And don't worry, Mika, I got you. You're coming. That whole team has got like a very unique operation going on. The way their devices are set up. So this is the neuralizer for Men in Black. If you're not a movie buff, I'm sorry. I use a lot of movie references all night long. Your memories are going to be erased. Stare at the green dots. So what's so cool about green lasers? Green lasers, first off, don't go to people that are not adults. We have a lot of them in our group tonight. What's so cool about this is you can't see the lasers from the pen to the ground until something passes through it. So this is going to help us find things that we can't see with the naked eye. Lasers stay on the ground, right? We don't want to be flashing. This can get Nick in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. Like in jail trouble. The second one we use is red squares. What's so unique about this one versus green dots? When we catch something here, we can put it in 3D software and give you a full 3D view of the apparition we caught with measurements. How cool is that? Have I had anything yet? No. I've had this device for about a year. I have things that are unexplainable, but I don't have things that I could put in the software to actually capture. Both of these in conjunction with one another. We don't want to cross the streams, you'll get dizzy. We want to keep them separated. And these are both going to load in. I keep the lasers in one spot so I know where they are at all times. To go along with that, I don't normally give this to kids either because they don't know what the hell it is. So it's a digital camera. Okay. Oh, y'all just finally got that, didn't you? So go ahead and point one of your lasers down. Literally what you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking pictures through the lasers. I don't want them down because I already know what those green dots look like. I'm trying to capture something here, so you want to be anywhere between 2 to 5 feet away. Pictures through the laser, because when I'm looking at the, through these pictures, I'm not looking at the dots. I'm looking up here to see if actually something went through it. Okay. Big button shoots. The next one, because it'll turn off from time to time. The next one's the power button. Very easy.
So like, how often do I take pictures?
Hundreds.
Okay.
Literally. Take as many as you can.
Okay.
With no flash on there, I don't want any false positives. So with that said,
so it flashes off.
Flashes off. Because I don't want any glares off windows or anything like that. I don't want the false positive. You want to be as still as possible. Tomorrow morning when you guys go back and look at last night's story, you'll see how blurry they were because I forgot to tell them to be still. They're very, very blurry. And it's hard to make out like, oh, all the squiggles go this way. Where's the one that goes this way? So you have to literally kind of look at those very uniquely. So,
one question.
yes.
Which way does this point?
There's if you feel that, there's a dot right here. Okay. That's where the laser comes out.
Okay.
So you want to.
This is my switch.
That's your toggle. Yep. You don't have to hold that one.
Okay.
No. There are safe zones for lasers to keep Nick out of trouble. Last but not least, and this will literally give everybody one device. Very cool. So, Mika, you are my all-around go-to girl.
Woohoo!
So this device is called a millimeter. This actually does 3 different functions. So first thing it's going to do is it's going to measure electromagnetic fields. That's kind of a disruptive in our natural balance on the Earth. So in the event we actually see something on our big numbers, which is what I'm going to have you watch most of the night, 2.5 and higher is where I get excited. That's a small disruption. I want to see patterns. If it's a pattern, then it's a man-made object, like a power line or a parking meter, a cell phone making it go off, whatever. So 2.5 is a good number. Anything above that. Last night it spiked at 100.
Oh my gosh.
Just so you know, it went up pretty high. The second thing it's going to measure is ambient temperature. Dale, was it? So if Dale finds something on his camera, you're going to be able to find where that cold spot's coming from through the ambient temperature from the yellow probe at the top.
Okay.
So that's function number 2. Last but not least, it's a REM pod, which means it's a motion detector. Cool thing about this is I just raised the antenna. If something gets close to that antenna, there's an EMF field around it. If something breaks it, it's going to go off. If it gets closer to it, it's going to go to a higher noise. Does that make sense to everybody? I pointed it down so nobody got flashed. We don't use the REM pod all the time, only because it's really annoying for audio. So at times when I say spirit box is up, that I'll say REM pod up as well. I'm going to show you more about that at our first location. So the thermal imaging and REM pod are my first two things that I dive into on the first stop. And then I start bouncing around with the rest of the devices. The first location is haunted, but it's literally a one-liner story. It just gives me an opportunity so you guys get a chance to work with me for a minute. I get to show you more tactics about your device. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, as I put up my cases, I'm going to tell you about the building behind me. There's a reason why we started here. So, any questions so far, by the way? Is this what you all thought you signed up for?
Yeah.
Birthday guy, is this it? You good with this?
Kim protected.
What's that?
Holy water.
I'm already protected. So I also have protection. I won't lie. I've gone home with other things before.
That's what I was scared of, yeah.
So it happens. It's not a, you know, if that's what your thing is holy water, then that's your thing. Mine happens to be a bunch of black stones that are keep the paranormal activity grounded, and they are all over my back. So, and I reset those by the new moon every 6 months or so, just to make sure everything, like I have epilepsy, so there are times when I leave the tour, I can't drive. Like something's hanging on to me too hard. So, and it didn't come from my tour, it came from one of y'all. It's not something, it's nothing on the tour is an 11. All right, we'll talk about all that darker stuff later. So, that's the good stuff, right? Holy water. Oh, you guys like that. Good job. So, the building behind me, right? So that place used to be called Big John's. Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm telling you a history of a location, I will emphasize keywords because we do have 3 spirit boxes running. 1947, New York Giants. New York came up last night, just for an example. You guys, I'm going to be calling you SpongeBob's all night because I'm already going through half a bottle of water. You guys are making me talk a lot. It's interactive, y'all. Let's go. So anyway, Big John used to sit in the back of the bar, and he used to tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink. And one night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. John tells the bartender, get them out of here. So they leave, pretty angry. They come back the next night, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on, they get into a little bar fight, and they're all on the ground. Shots go off. John gets hit in the neck, scuffs him, and goes into the wall. He gets up, and he goes back to the bar. He says, get me another beer, we'll get them guys an ambulance. Now, first off, John's the one that got shot. He shouldn't have been the one getting up. Second, nobody died in that story. What's haunting the place? The bullet hole is allegedly still in the front of the building. I say allegedly because they're renovating right now. You guys can see the window on the paper on the windows. I'll have to double check it once they're done. People that sit in the front of the bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, and light symptoms. I bring this up on purpose. I don't know how paranormal activity is going to protect anybody, but it seems we're protected with holy water.
Got you guys.
But if you guys are feeling any of those slightest symptoms, please let me know. I don't say that to scare you. It's happening. I won't say that people haven't passed out from this tour in the past. So that's why I started carrying more stuff in the past. All right, let's get our minds off our health, all right? Because nobody wants to think about getting sick on a fun tour. 1886, we had a big earthquake. If you've never taken any kind of tour in Charleston, they're going to talk about the big earthquake. It was a 7-point-something on the Richter scale. Allegedly, this is where the first death occurred. I say allegedly because I don't have an actual proof. But what happened through the grapevine is that a piece of the mantle that's in the middle of the building also wraps around the front. The front of it, a piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the head, and killed them on the ground. You can see his ghost in the middle of the night right here on East Bay Street. It's a great segue story, so you guys are no longer thinking about getting sick on my tour, even though I just answered it again. So, are you guys ready to go ghost hunting? All right, we're going to go up this way.
Pretty cute.
How's it looking?
Pretty weird.
Any blue spots?
Quite a couple, but I'm pretty sure it's just lights. Look.
Oh yeah, there are blue spots.
Yeah. I have no idea what it is. Probably just lights or something. Sorry. I was looking at blue spots. You know. What do you think that is? There's blue spots.
What did you say, black and white?
I think black and blue or something. I have no idea. But if I see anything weird, I'll tell them. Is that a barn?
That's what I was.
So this is very simple, nice and easy. So this is where we keep your horse's food paralyzed. They are inside the barn. Inside those panes that you guys see, the big holes on the barn, there's no glass. You can't hear us. Loud spirit boxes, you want to keep it audible to you only. Okay, so you don't want to spook those ponies. Absolutely no lasers on that building whatsoever. Yeah, you will spook the hell out of it. If you wanted a jump scare, that's the way to get it. So, still looking at all of you, trying to make sure I got your names correct. So, you might have to go around. Lauren, Rachel, Mike, Kathy, Dale, Mika, Courtney.
Good job, Nick. Good job.
Hey, she remembered my name. Kudos to her. So, the only history I have here, guys, is very simple. This is where we kept the horses that deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. That's it. So, let's talk about spirit boxes. That's where it starts. Start it off first, right? This is not TV. This is not, is somebody here? Because if somebody says no, guess what? Somebody will be. That's a no question whatsoever. We just stay away from them all night long. There's always a way to reword the question. So, it's just so easy to get a yes or no. For example, the reason why I say that, and then just kind of point it out, on the 2 spirit boxes that sweep radio stations, you might get a real estate commercial where the word houses is said, and you think you heard yes. Does that make sense now? We just stay away from it. We want detail. We want the specifics. I'm trying to show you that it's actually here. We're going to start off with questions you already know the answers to. This is level 1, by the way. So, what color is the barn? If somebody's here with me, tell me what color the barn is. We're obviously going to be listening for the color red. But let's say the color red's not coming through on your spirit box. You have a different type of spirit box. They can also give you a term that is something specifically red. Hurt, blood, fire truck. All 3 of those things are specifically red, right? It's not going to be my shirt, my shoe is red. It's going to be something specific, and it happens all the time. You have to treat these spirit boxes. If you've never seen the movie Transformers, Bumblebee uses the radio as a voice box. He talks to us through the radio. It's the easiest way to explain it. So obviously we have a fan. Mike's like, yes, that's a great example. But that's exactly how we're going to treat these things. Any event you don't get an answer, 2, 3, 4 tries. You're going to open it up. What's inside the barn? Now we've got a whole array of stuff that we got to put clues together for. We have animals in there that are horses. They're draft horses. So that's their breed. They deliver milk and eggs. That's also protein and calcium. See how I have to look for these terms and kind of see what it actually makes sense? Last night we had the word hay come up. Obviously there's going to be hay in the barn. It's a big deal. But keep in mind as well, we're still pretty close to Big John's. If you hear double digits, it's more than likely, or at least a 50-50 shot, that it's a jersey number from Big John's teammates. I don't get excited with 1, for example. If you hear, come to my art class, and she gets the number 40, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You see where I have to put the clues together? Because they're going around your questions and telling you something else. That's where I get excited. You're going to find throughout our locations tonight, there's going to be multiple same answers to different questions. Might be somebody named Eliza 4 times, 4 different Elizas. I have to know which one I'm talking about. Does that make sense? Or who I'm talking to, rather. So, do we have any terms, by the way? Seeing if you brought up the list already.
Sophia, strength, flat, self-esteem.
30. So I'm going to definitely be looking into 30. And I'm also interested in the word cream. Why? Around the mid to late 1800s, milk was called cream. So I was definitely going to take that as a definitive answer. I'm here 6 nights a week. They know the questions. Sometimes they answer them preemptively. Sometimes it takes them a little while to get to me. But they're going to answer some of these questions for sure. Lasers, again, you guys kind of have the gist. If you're adults, I'm going to get with you guys probably last. But I do want to work with thermal imaging and the millimeter first spirit boxes. Definitely turn them up. Let's get some answers out of this thing. Looks like the dude left with his car, so we're free reign to roam this entire lot. Again, just don't get too loud near these windows. So the 2 of you, if you want to stay with me, the rest of you scatter about, and I'll be right with you. Yeah, well, you can hang out with us. That's fine. You can chill. All right. She's fine. All right. So let's start with thermal imaging. So I don't have a blank space.
I don't know how to turn this on.
You feel the little button on the side?
Yeah.
Okay. Touch it gently and just push it. Hold it.
Oh.
There you go.
I
Perfect.
wonder.
Okay, so thermal imaging is you kind of see how you have. Oh, now we got somebody in view. Turn your camera so she's out. So, see how everything kind of bled out to red over there?
Yeah.
Watch what happens when my hand comes into view. That should turn blue. You see how the whole building turned blue?
Yeah.
You want to have somebody's skin in view at all times, even Courtney that's far away. What's the relationship here between everybody, by the way?
That's my aunt.
sister, his aunt, and that's my son.
Okay, perfect. So, Aunt Courtney over there in view is fine because you could probably see her skin. Well, she's got her back towards us, so maybe not so much. But
Yeah.
the whole point is you want to have our skin's going to be warmer than anything else out here. I want an array of color. At our next location, I am going to show you some evidence so you have a little bit better idea of what to look for.
Okay.
Okay, now you see how everything fluctuated? In here, this is a great spot for you and this cameras because we have metal, asphalt, foliage, wood, brick. Like, we've got all kinds of material. You're literally going to take a lap and kind of get used to how all of that moves around in your camera. You don't necessarily have to keep somebody in view, but try to, just so that way you can kind of see how it's relevant to everything else.
Down there we saw some blue spots when he was walking. Like,
Did they move?
no.
Okay, so if they didn't move and they didn't change temperature, like they fluctuated in light blue to dark blue, light blue to dark blue, I pretty much take that as probably holes in between the tree gaps and
Oh,
things like that. So,
okay.
I mean, I'll definitely take a look.
Yeah.
I'm just, making
Yeah.
an assumption at this point.
We don't know.
That's why I'm here.
Well, yeah.
All right, so we are going to turn the temperature off on that. Here's the reason why. Have you seen it like fluctuate a little bit
Yeah.
under big numbers? So your temperature, we're going to turn that off. So all the battery juice now is going to go into your big numbers.
Okay.
To turn the temperature back on because he found something, you just hold this top right button on. It's the very top one.
This one?
Yep. Just hold it until the little number comes back.
Okay.
I want all the juice to go to the EMF because now it's going to fluctuate a lot more. You're going to see it move a lot quicker.
Okay.
So I'm looking for those weird spikes and then back down to zero. Weird spike, back down to zero. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Let's talk about your REM pod. Pull your antenna up. Now flip the device over. Yep. And I left a little flap open for you. Perfect. So there's two white buttons on the back there. You see them?
Yeah.
Okay, the one on the right, closest to the edge. If you click it all the way in, you gotta press it all the way until the light stays on. Perfect. So now it's going a little wonky. So hold it as still as you can. So if it still goes wonky when it's doing that and it's giving you all kinds of crazy lights, there's a way to reset this field. So just picture like electrical lines around your antenna, and they're kind of like this. That was crazy. Let's try to reset it. There's four buttons along the side here. The very bottom one will reset it. So when you click that button, they just go back.
Okay.
So
Press it.
yeah, I mean, you can if you want to. It's not doing anything crazy right now,
Okay,
but if it is,
But if it does do that, press
Yeah,
this
and
one.
and the reason why I say go ahead and try it now, that's because you moved it. It's
Oh.
very sensitive.
Okay.
So you want to try to be pretty still with it. Now, if you're a hard stepper, I normally give this device to females. You guys tend to be a little bit lighter steppers than us guys. So if you were a hard stepper, it would go doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo with every step you took. So that's why with females, you guys kind of have a little bit more grace than us. So again, you want to kind of just be graceful with it, kind of see what happens. You don't want to be jostling it around and pointing it and all that stuff. Just hold it.
Okay.
You know, it's one of those kind of devices. When I say let's go ahead and turn that REM pod off because it's going to break my concentration of telling the story, that's where the white button on the back comes into play. Push the antenna back in.
Okay.
Very simple stuff.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to start following up with the spirit boxes. Play with your toys for a few minutes, and then we're going to learn some real history.
Okay.
Okay, so wait, one last thing.
Yeah.
So what am I supposed to be looking for?
So you're
I know for
literally
the
looking, so
blue-
if there was, see all the light blue in there?
Yeah.
Black and dark blue are going to be your coldest spots. If you find a spot and all of a sudden it's moving on its own intelligently, you want to keep the camera on it. I'm going to show you another piece of evidence. Here, I just want you to get used to the different types of devices, like not the devices, but the material around you, because you do have asphalt and metal and all that. So just kind of do a quick pan around while I follow up with them, and then at our next stop, after I'm done telling the story, that's when I come to you and show you some actual evidence, so that way you can see a little bit more of what you're capturing.
Okay, yeah.
Did you hear anything?
Yeah,
What'd you get?
red.
Beautiful.
The very first question.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you get anything else?
No.
All right. I'm going to follow up with them. You guys all work together.
Okay.
See what else you can get on that thing.
Okay.
I think me and Noni are supposed to walk beside each other. She has a spirit box and I got
Okay, come on.
this camera. I think all three of us are supposed to be here.
No questions. So.
Yeah, I think all three of us because he said if I see a cold spot that you're supposed to follow it, I think, Mom.
Up? We can't have two horses. Okay, right here. What should I ask?
don't know. It doesn't look very.
What's the name of your favorite horse? Do you have a favorite horse and what is their name?
I have to turn that off.
What's a jersey number of one of the players that used to go to the bar next door?
You hear that now? Spirit box are happening now in this week.
Happening now? Oh wow.
What's the color of your favorite horse?
I'm gonna go back here, see if I get anything.
What color of the horse?
Well, then let's go learn some real history.
Well, it said happening now.
Oh, yeah,
and then
when that
this
went
started
off,
going.
Well, that's definitely something unexplainable.
Yeah.
Well, not so much, but it is explainable what's happening now.
Yeah.
Okay. Was the camera on you guys? Okay. See what comes up.
That's why I went backwards. Kind of get the good shots. Across everyone. Listen to that car. I mean, I kind of have to be the guy in the back so I could capture everything. And he said I have to have a person in view or skin so I could actually get blue so I could see the stuff. Because if I don't, then I'm just going to ruin the camera quality for literally everyone. What are you messing with? Is it going all by itself? Girl, that's pretty scary. What? I'm gonna have the camera on you, okay? 5.5.
Like I said at the beginning. So, welcome to the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion Center. Nobody comes to this place looking at it this way. So, no other tour is going to bring you here because there's obviously nothing to see. So, first, a couple of rules in here. That's the only way in and out. So, watch for vehicles. They will come flying in looking for parking spaces on Saturday night. They're still going to be looking in. Dale, you have a camera. People get a little weird about their cars being filmed. In the event you see somebody walking to their vehicle, they're casually holding a cell phone. Nobody likes to be screamed at, correct? Good. So, same thing with your camera. It's the same principle. Nobody likes to, oh, why do you have a license plate? No, dude, there's a ghost, I promise. So, it's never fun to try to explain what the hell we're actually trying to do here, because then we gotta waste 30 minutes. Alright, so, Eliza and Charles Pinckney, we're gonna talk about them. They had a son named Charles, they had a nephew named Charles. The son and the nephew were from South Carolina. Pretty big deal for us. However, y'all are on vacation, nobody wants to talk politics. So, we're going to talk about Eliza. Eliza, this is, by the way, you're on level 2, so this is a place where you're not going to get answers from me until before we leave. You're going to get answers from your spirit boxes. This is not what color George Washington's way horse, right? So, you're not going to get that kind of stuff out of me. Eliza married Charles at a young age. Charles was over double the age that she was when they got married. try to find out what those ages are. Moving on. She married him because her father over in England thought he was dying and wanted to see his kids one last time. So he was trying to bring all his kids over to England. She didn't want to go. This is the mid-1740s. Getting married did not give her citizenship. Just so you guys know, it did not exist yet. He basically just said, Dad, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to get married and stay here. Okay? So, she was right. Dad did not die right away. So he started sending over gifts. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. Indigo is very prominent here in Charleston. So, indigo is a plant that makes blue, that it makes our blue jeans blue. Trying to see between shorts and pants which got wet. Alright, Courtney's got it on. She's wearing indigo right now. That's how certain denim companies still use it today. So, this was perfect timing for her because the rice plantations were starting to go downhill. So when Dad sent over the indigo, she started experimenting with it, but it isn't always hot and muggy to keep this plant cultivated. She learned from her slaves and servants who were from the Bella culture how to keep this plant going. So therefore, she was able to move it over to Sneed Farm in Mount Pleasant and made a huge cash crop, which she had to sell it to. She calls Dad and says, hey, literally, there's no problem with 1740s, just so you guys know. The kids looking at me like, really, they called him up? Yeah, on a rotary phone. So she calls her dad, she wants some contacts and we can sell this stuff overseas. Think of the color royal blue. This is the same stuff that indigo is. So she starts selling it overseas. Boom, we have a businesswoman in the middle of the 1700s, mid-colonial times. There's no such thing yet. So this is a very big deal. Now, I'm just touching the iceberg of some of the things that she's done. There are a lot of weird facts about Eliza that you can poke questions with on your spirit boxes. And hopefully we can get something with Thermal and the Legos as well. Eliza was the second wife from Charles named Eliza back to back. They both go by their maiden name that start with a letter M. So, maiden name, not middle name. Sometimes I have to emphasize that when I have a younger person. They will say, what was your middle name? Not her middle name. So the name she got before she was married. So, you can ask that. Obviously, you can ask about her ages when they got married. You can ask about the mansion. Obviously, it's not here anymore. And then, when did that happen to the mansion? Hopefully, you get a year. You can ask anything you want to about Eliza's death. How old she was, what did she die from, where did she die, where is she buried, and what U.S. president was a pallbearer at the funeral. That's a big one. So, that's usually the question people go after first. Let's see what else. Oh, the kids. So I already gave you one child's name, Charles, right? So tread lightly with children. There's a tragedy among them. Maybe ask how many she had, how many boys, how many girls.
3.8.
So keep in mind, the number you're reading has nothing to do with the motion you're detecting. They're two separate things. So we'll talk more about that as I bounce around everybody. But with the kids, tread lightly. Maybe you can try to get the names of the kids, but no more than that. Please don't ask about the tragedy. All activity will stop. I've seen it enough times. Somebody gets curious. So, somebody's going to ask. And then we don't have anything the rest of the night. Oh, great. Actually, we did this every time. Let's see. We are going to spend about 10 minutes here. If we do have some decent activity going on, we'll probably spend close to 15 minutes. This is a chance where I start checking in on all the apps that you guys and all that stuff, checking for tickets, and then I start bouncing around with all of them. Dale, I'll start with you after I'm done, so I can show you some evidence. But again, have fun here. Definitely get some pictures of those pictures going on. What words do you have right now? What do we have to do? Wow, a lot of vague terms, huh? The only one specific I heard was Jacob, and that's not relevant. So I call that part of the 80% BS. Doesn't mean anything. At least to my knowledge at this point. Not that I'm going to Google for things. I think trust me, I have a respect for this whole too. Stuff will come up and I'm like, dude, I was thinking, all of a sudden I thought I was a long lost friend. I never know. So, again, start spreading out, have some fun in here. I'm there to catch up with you guys in like 5 minutes, start hitting you guys one by one or team by team, however you guys decide you're going to group up, so you don't feel so hard. It lies up. Easy. Alright, definitely get started.
What is? I don't think fingers mean anything. I got bit by so many mosquitoes.
You see anything? Move it around slowly.
No, not really. I've been recording you guys.
Look over here.
Towards them.
Slowly move it around.
I need to have skin or something. Because if I don't, then it's gonna be like that. But if I put it on you, everything's blue. What was that?
Just the radio.
Oh.
Let's go over here.
Is there anything you want us to know?
You guys have some activity going on. How high? That's okay. So I know there's 2 EMF happenings right now. One of them is around the antenna being created, and the second one is measuring everything else. So it is possible to have motion around the antenna and there be a 0 on your screen. I would actually almost prefer that. Just to show you like it's 2 separate entities.
Where was your favorite area in your home?
Now keep in mind that answer can go anywhere. We have 3 spirit boxes running, the audio on his camera and the audio that I'm wearing. So it could go there as an EVP. Alright, you wanted to see some evidence, right?
Yeah.
So this is the corner right up there. You're going to see 2 living people going past the wall. Do you see their heads right in the center?
Oh, yeah.
Well, those are living people. Don't get excited yet.
Okay.
They're alive. It's the dead people we care about. I just do that for a point of reference. They're going to be 2 dead people coming this way.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
with that tool being used by firemen and mechanics, I've analyzed it with them, with certain people that have been on my tour, frame by frame, just to prove that it was paranormal and it wasn't a car going by or anything else crazy. You can literally see 2 heads, like as they.
Yeah.
It's undeniable. You know, once you start looking at it frame by frame. I have other pieces, I just haven't clipped them yet. But a lot of it is like, hey, there's a blue blob right here on a person. It groups together, gets colder, gets darker, and then moves away, and all of a sudden I can see your arm again. Just a few nights ago, at our last location we're going to go to, I turned completely blue and erased out of the camera, and then the camera shut off.
Oh, wow.
I think they're using your energy.
Possibly. But I also, again, had a bunch of stones on it. Everything was grounded, unprotected. I felt fine. So, it's just a matter
When I was recording you, your kneecaps, they were literally see-through.
And that happens, and it's just because my skin temperature might be blending in with what's on the ground. You also have to remember I have a cold bottle of water on my side, so that's going to look a little blue too.
Okay.
So again, clothing is going to be colder. It's skin temperature versus like cement, gravel, and those kind of things that we're kind of really after.
I was wondering if you ever like get affected with your job.
Because this isn't the only kind of stuff that I use. This is just what again, you hear the stories sometimes. It's like this all night. Nothing dark, nothing malevolent. Do I mess around with other things? Yes, but I'm very careful. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing it a long time. So I have these spirit boards and a pendulum board and tarot cards and all of that stuff too. So you guys are local. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Where you guys live at?
This group, but on the base, so we're here temporarily.
Oh, okay.
I live on the base.
Okay.
She lives on the base. Yeah, but we've been living here about 3 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, we love it. Something.
Yeah, it's definitely a different type of area, especially coming from Myrtle Beach.
Oh, you're from Myrtle Beach?
I'm originally from Ohio, so I came from Ohio to Myrtle Beach, then moved down here just over 5 years ago.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the cicadas are nothing to mess with, the humidity. The snakes.
The cicadas are actually Fletcher Lewis is up north.
They are.
So I talked to some folks in Virginia. That's been the worst case that I've heard of so far. Like people came here to get away from them.
Oh my gosh.
And that was like 2 weeks ago when it all started. Like when it all started coming out. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
when it started getting nasty.
That's crazy.
So I deliver to the base all the time. I'll drive Uber Eats if tours are slow. So if it's raining all week, I gotta make money. I gotta eat.
Yeah.
So I just drive Uber Eats to make up the time.
Yeah, we're at the, not the Air Force One today, over by the street.
Is that over by wherever was at the? I honestly don't know which base it is I go to all the time. It's Fletcher Street. I know that.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know when I see Fletcher, you know, I always say I'm on my way. Thanks for your service.
Oh yeah.
Just because I know where I'm going.
Yeah, that's it.
I always say that.
Yeah.
So I know exactly where you're at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live in Summer.
Oh, you do? That's what I'm saying.
So
There's a
parts
park
of it.
down
Come with me.
there. Yeah, there's a park.
Okay. What the freak is happening?
What part?
It's definitely not happy.
Statues everywhere. Statues.
It's kind of hard.
Huh?
It's kind of hard getting stuff on this. 'Cause most of the time it's just orange.
Want to do this?
Okay.
You want to ask some questions?
Should we ask?
What was the age difference between Eliza and her husband when they got married?
We'll record you.
What made Eliza famous? What plant did Eliza use to make her famous and make her a businesswoman in the early 1800s? And what year did the castle get torn down? Next question. What was the name of your favorite pet? How many bedrooms were in your mansion?
feel so dumb now.
Well, you got it. Do you have a message for us? Where should we walk to hear you guys? You hear that breathing? That's scary. Bill,
What?
look over that way.
Here, take a look for yourself.
Yeah, come on.
You're looking for black circles moving in the blue.
You see me?
Well, no. I see black circles, but they're sitting still. Saw nothing move around you.
Huh?
I didn't see anything move around you.
What's your favorite flower? What plant made Eliza famous?
Alright, garbage. No, what are we catching on that thing?
This thing was going crazy.
Okay.
And I just froze and didn't know what to do but reset it.
Okay. And that's fine. What are you getting on yours? Anything? Nothing at all? Again, that's not,
Not
the
that I
easy.
know.
It's not the easiest job in the world.
Yeah.
It's not. So again, just like I told them, if you guys want to switch up devices so you guys get a gist of what is going on, just keep it within your party. So I think he's gonna have a hard time giving up that phone because he's like glued to it. But you know, you guys again, it's not the easiest job to listen to spirit boxes for more than 2 or 3 minutes. So I'll give you a few minutes to kind of tinker with it so you can get the gist of it. And then if you're not getting anything, the girls aren't really getting much either. So we'll pull together. I'll give you the answers to the questions that I prompted you for, and we'll kind of see what we get out of it, and then we'll move on to the next stop. Yeah, this is a hot spot, so fingers crossed with it.
Do you want to take the spirit box? Or do you
Me?
want to keep that?
It's up to you.
What
If
do
you want to have it, what you have to keep in mind is you probably want to have skin in the way. Because look, if you don't have any people flesh, it'll probably mainly look. Like, hold on, stop,
How do
please.
you use this, sister?
If you don't have any flesh, it'll be orange and you can't really catch
I
anything.
don't know how to use this.
But if you get like just a little bit of a
See
hand,
right there?
see how it starts turning blue?
Yeah.
You have to have like people in the background so you can see black spots going through the blue.
So right now, it's going to press this button to reset it. But when it's making, that means somebody did that. So unless no one's walking in front of it, that means you're capturing someone who's walking. So should I reset it? Yeah. This button. That. So you see the numbers go high. And that means someone's still in front of it. But you have to move like this. Yeah, which device do you want? Are you happy with that one?
It's up to you guys. You can take whatever you want.
Come on.
My hand is getting pretty sore from holding this thing.
You want to ask questions? Or
It's
do you want to do that one? What do you want?
up to you guys. I don't
There's
care.
someone there recording me.
Recording.
Ask questions. You don't remember nothing about Liza? Eliza, do you like the bottoms Courtney's wearing? That's not what you're supposed to ask. Hey Eliza, what plant was used to make jeans?
yes or no question.
What happened?
You guys are already up here. All right. Did you hear anything?
I just asked, why did you get married so young? It said mixture.
Cha-ching. Did she show you how to reset it?
Pleasure to the
Not necessarily.
Okay.
If it starts going crazy because you think you moved it, that's when you want to reset it.
Okay.
You know your own movements better
Yeah.
than me seeing.
Okay.
So, again, hard steppers, it's going to go off with every step
Oh,
because it will jostle.
okay.
All right, so we have the word crop that showed up. We have in the year of, when she asked when the house was built. So I'm going to see if there's a number that shows up somewhere else, but we do have the number 30 that we started off with. It's a possibility. So I'll dive in and see what that 30 is actually related to. Numbers usually prove true to something, so
I
we'll
heard
see.
150.
150?
Yeah. I don't remember what I asked. I think it was like, when did this get torn down? And all I heard was 150.
Okay. Let's see if that's
It could have been something else,
Could've
but
been.
definitely 50.
All right, so what questions are we most curious about that I gave you?
What age were you married?
She was 22, he was 45. So, again, to us, that's a young age. It's not a very young age. But back then, she would have been considered an old maid, just so you know.
I thought she would have got married a lot younger.
Yeah, most people do. So when I say young age, people think, oh, this is 1700, she got married at 12 to her cousin or something crazy. Because that's what they did back then.
Yeah.
But she was from England, so 22 was still probably pretty young to their culture, you know, even though she was here in the States. Let's see, we'll just roll right along with the questions I gave you. That was probably from you, just so you can kind of get a gist of what I'm. Let's see, what questions did I start you guys off with? Oh, Eliza. Unfortunately, that's going to be on your audio. Eliza Lucas Pinkney was the one who planted the indigo. So Lucas was the name there, and then Eliza Lamb, the first one. So Eliza Lamb Pinkney, Eliza Lucas Pinkney. Let's see here. The kids, we'll just go straight into that. So we already gave you Charles. There were 3 boys, 1 girl. Charles, Thomas, and baby George, who did not make it. We don't know if the baby was days or weeks old, and to make it even worse, we don't even know where the baby is. We don't know the burial.
I heard baby.
Okay.
I don't know that.
It's a possibility, because sometimes she wants to talk about it, sometimes she doesn't. If you ask her how many kids she had, you already heard something relating to a baby, or George, you usually get the number 3, not 4. So again, you kind of put all these clues together when you see it night after night. The interesting thing about George is that Eliza's father, right, her maiden name was Lucas. So her father's name was also George. That's who she named the baby after, but that would make her father's name George Lucas. So that kind of makes it easy to remember. So that's also what she named his son, George Lucas. So, let's see. So there's 3 Georges. Oh, 3 Georges. So let's go into the 3rd George. It was George Washington who was the president that was the pallbearer at her funeral. So when there's a George that pops up, there's 3 of them. It's like there's 3 Charleses. I need to know which one I'm talking about. A lot of times I'll get a clue like Wood, Cherry, Apple, Martha.
anything relating to George Washington. I'll get his full name. I'll get just Washington. I get presidency first. Anything that tells me that this is the one we're talking about. The rest of the things about her death, she was 70 years old when she died. That's a long time back in the 1700s. She died from breast cancer in 1793. So breast cancer wasn't even a thing yet. We're going based off her medical records. This was in Philadelphia, which is also where she was married. So that's the reason why we don't go to actual cemeteries, because people don't hang out where they're buried. They go to the places they love. So that's why we're here. So that's all the facts about her death. So Philadelphia, Pennsylvania has come through for me before, all kinds of things. What other facts that I haven't asked about? Oh, the mansion. So I guess they don't like one there anymore. It did burn down. Great Fire of 1861. If you take any other kind of tour, historical heritage, they all talk about a Great Fire of whatever year it happened. This one in 1861 just went from the Peninsula Coast all the way to the Peninsula Coast. The building was just in the way. The only pictures we have of this building that was where we're standing is after the fire, and they are drawn. So it is very sketchy. We don't know what color the house was. We have a layout based on some of the letters from. We can talk about the daughter. Speaking of letters, the letters that she wrote to her daughter. She married in Horry. So Horry is Myrtle Beach. So Horry County, that's where that is. So imagine from here to Georgetown, Myrtle Beach area. You guys are about to know what that feels like. So that's where she moved to. She married another prominent family. She used to write letters all the time to her daughter because her daughter came on a 2.5-hour drive. So I get the letters being paper. So from here, we are going to go up about 4 blocks on the location. You're going to listen for names. I'm not going to give you gender or what names. When we reach my alley, it's a quiet zone. So the rank pod needs to be shut down, and the road needs to be shut down. It's a quiet area. We're still trying to figure out. Lasers are no go on these roads. Picture, city physical alley, take a few shots. So let's take a peek through there. Obviously keep filming. Usually go on his own. So let's see what we actually have. Slow down.
What is happening? Turn it off? It terrifies you?
No.
Oh.
Because they're on a quiet place.
Oh.
We're not watching them.
I'll just stay behind all y'all. What? Where did y'all walk on? What are y'all talking about?
The names that are coming through.
Oh. What do you think Dad's doing?
Sleeping.
Look how cool these torches look.
Check it because they closed up the rooftops.
How's everything looking?
Weird. I've seen absolutely nothing. It's definitely getting a little sore though.
You want to switch with Noni or me?
No, I'll ask some questions. And I'm a hard stepper too.
Just said dude.
Dude. Wait, so all this gets sent back to the other people?
Yeah, everything.
So they just hear me talking. I better shut up then. And I don't want to make it look like I'm recording other people too. So I gotta put my camera down in public. No, in public. Right here.
Okay, no one cares.
Probably.
That was our tour guide. What? That was the tour guide? Yeah.
There's special baskets here. Yeah.
Pretty down here.
What?
Pretty down here.
Yeah. Told you it wouldn't be that scary to walk around in the dark.
What?
Told you it wouldn't be scary to walk around in the dark.
I'm still scared.
There's a bunch of
There's
people.
a lot of people out.
Yeah, that's what it is. There's a bunch of people still out here. I mean, I feel pretty safe.
I lost my sweater.
Oh
Where
no,
at?
where'd you leave it? The pizza shop?
I don't remember.
A long sweater.
We could check the pizza shop and
Ooh,
the.
back alley.
We could check the
Yeah, we'll check.
pizza shop, the place that we went last time, and the water.
Ooh, it's super scary back there.
The water place.
You say you had a sweater? Why did you bring a sweater on?
The basement control.
This is a pretty weird alleyway.
I did. Excuse me with your sweater. I thought you had it.
I was like, it was like a Christmas present from you.
I think it's at
It has to be at the pizza shop.
yeah, probably. I didn't even know that Noni was wearing a sweater. What sweater was it? Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, it has to be at the pizza shop then.
Do you hear anything?
Do you think they're gonna be closed though?
Yeah, that's Ooh, what was that?
Close what?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Just of where we are. When we crossed that last crosswalk, Charles Town used to be a walled city. So the wall used to go up that street. I'm going to talk about that again later on. With that said, we are standing in one of the first streets of Charlestown. So that's why these clay bricks that you see, these are original. So they're handmade here and laid. People used to live here. If you hear any names on our spirit box. Jonathan. So,
Judy, Cindy.
Jody and Cindy. Nope. I'm gonna go with Jonathan. The names I commonly get are Benjamin and John.
Yeah, I heard John. I heard John, and then I thought I heard.
Okay, very cool. So those two people, Benjamin and John, both lived here in 1801. They were 2 out of the 5 residents that used to live here. I think those are pretty good odds when I get their names about once a month or so. So I'll definitely be listening for Ben's name coming up as well. Now, it could also be that we get John's last name, which was Johnson. John Johnson is his name. I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived here. The reason why this is called Lodge Alley is because this is where one of the first Masonic lodges was after Charleston. So And that was before the residents lived here. So the name Mason or term Mason also shows up here. So this is a very interesting alley. They get a few shots coming in, so we'll see what comes out of that. Last night I did have some kind of weird blue streak coming through down at the end. So
I don't think we can
probably
solve
just
it.
turning around because it's not going to make it.
Just say we pretty tight.
Yeah, this is pretty much wide enough for a horse and buggy home.
Right.
So, but we are literally, when we're against the wall, this is where people's front steps were. This is how close the neighborhood was. So, the other part of the Charlestown wall was across the street on the street we were walking down. So, those buildings we see, they weren't there. The smell of low tide coming through here all the time. These people were lower class. They did have some of their tools and silverware that they did do an archaeological dig for, and that's how they were able to classify them as lower class. And it makes sense because of the low tide smell. So the houses down at the Battery, they're turned and shaped a little bit differently, so you're not going to get that smell. You're going to get more debris. So it's a lot different down there than it is over here. You guys will see that once you guys start walking around town. As we walk through the rest of the valley, we're going to be in a neighborhood. Tour guides are not allowed to be tour guides in neighborhoods. We're going to be 8 friends passing by, no noises, no lasers, no anything, until we get to our next stop. I will move a little at about the same pace I did to get us here, just so you guys know. So definitely keep your spirit boxes off until we reach Cumberland Street again. So those of you that have the noisy ones. But I am excited about John. That's very cool stuff. Because again, he hasn't shown up this month, and he was, I think he showed up at the beginning of last month too. We are getting close to a new moon. I think we're like, what, 2 days away? 3 days away? New moon is when I get the higher activity. It's not a full moon. It's the weirdest thing. And I'm out here 6 nights, so I pay attention to that stuff. Questions about this location? Again, this is a brief stop, just so you guys get to see some cobblestone. Alright, you're definitely going to have that full list of residents now that I know that Jonathan is in there. So.
There we go. By yourself? No.
Oh, all the way around?
Yeah. Yeah, start to finish. That's 6 miles.
What do you think's happening here? What? I don't record people. There's no ghost.
You never know.
It's like there's a ghost at Scotchman.
Yes.
Okay.
You want to drink of this?
No, I'm okay. Probably gonna have to, stay up all night since if I try to go to bed now, I'll fall asleep at 4.
I'll give you melatonin.
Okay.
I'm the, what's her name? Love.
I like that feeling.
I couldn't tell you something.
Look how cool that looks.
Oh yeah.
What is that?
I don't know. A solar panel?
What?
Solar panel? Record up there. See if you can get it. See anyone up there. Record the building. Something.
Oh, all orange. That's pretty cool though. What is this place? And look at the bottom, it looks like a shoe store. Clothes.
I think it is a shoe store.
Where do you think we're going now?
I don't know, but it's scary and quiet over here. This is where you guys want to sit real quick, because I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff that goes on in this location. So, this is in Legends and Lore portion of Charleston. So, do I expect stuff to come up out of large places at this location? You never know. I have evidence from every story along the street corner. There's about 15 of them. I do. Do I expect it? Not necessarily. But you non-locals, there's a lot of weird stuff. What do you have? As soon as we get to the church.
Yes.
Last night it was the word pray. So, hey, you're gonna see, we're gonna be here at least 5 minutes or so. So, minimum 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. So, a couple things going on here. So, did you guys all notice the beautiful alley that we passed up? That works. Okay, so that's Philadelphia Alley. It used to be called Jewelers Alley because that's where all of the duels used to occur in the city of Charleston. So if you guys turn around, the wall to that alley is behind you, and there's a doorway in the center. So the doorway in the center is in the event there was a loser from the duel, meaning somebody died, they would pick up the loser, bring him over this courtyard, take him over to St. Philip's Cemetery, drop the body, then go celebrate the winner. Very cool little fact about Charleston. Nobody knows why they were always there. At least the tour guides don't seem to know. So that's a little tidbit I got in that. Now, I'll talk about one specific tool. What words do we have going on before I start diving into stories? This is where I kind of let the list dictate. Let me take it. Maybe I'll get something. Born in Jesus. Obviously, because Jesus was next to the church. So, let's stick with the duel story for now and see if something pops up. So, we all talk about one specific duel. I can't take you down there anymore because it's residential. Nick got caught. For me, or it's on the recording.
At least you tried it.
Right. Just perjuring myself. But anyway, so we all talked about one duel. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here from Rhode Island because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. A lot of key words in this one. Just kind of stay focused. So, Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. The attorney that was handling the money said, no, I think he's just after your money, send him away. So from Rhode Island, he comes to Charleston. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. This is a medical student. He's probably dressed pretty dapper. Looks like he's got some cash. Somebody walking by sees what's happening. His name is Ralph Isaacs. He's a local. Keep in mind, Ralph has the same initials from where the doctor came from. Rhode Island and Ralph Isaacs. R.I. shows up a lot. I never know which one it is until I get another clue. So he says, let me take you to 59 Church Street. I know the ladies that own that place. They have a room for them. The two become friends. So the doctor, his practice starts to take off. And that just means Amanda's coming down soon. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. You can Google the Whistling Doctor of Charleston and get a much more detailed version of the story. However, the doctor making so much more money, when he went to go see plays with his friend Ralph, the doctor had better seats. He could not sit next to his friends. But he had to kind of talk about these plays like they're talking about the movie on the drive home. It's the same principle. They're talking about the new actress that they just saw from William III, Shakespearean play. Don't know which theater. The tour guide can tell you. There were dozens at that time. But they're talking about the actress. The doctor loved her, and Ralph didn't. They start arguing. Then it turns into an insult party on the doctor's fiance back home. So obviously they get pretty angry with each other and they go their separate ways. Ralph's from here. He calls the newspaper, again, not literally, but he goes over there and he places an ad, and he basically wants to state what a disgrace the doctor is to the city of Charleston. The doctor sees this ad, and he rebuttals with it. Let's go to Doors Alley and send this. Somebody's going to die. So they come down, they take the turn case, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air, and he shoots, which is what happened about 90% of the time of duels anyway. So, however, Ralph still has his one shot. Puts it in the kneecap. Sorry, I'm not trying to kill you. Just in front of me. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So he didn't die. He didn't come through the death gate. His friends pick him up and they carried him home to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later, probably from the end. They say as you walk through the alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. Now,
have whistles? Yes. Are a lot of them hecklers? Yes. Every downtown local person knows that story. They walk by either side of it and give up, on either side. Do I have stuff I can't explain? Yes. Do I have the word whistle showing up on a spirit box somewhere? All the time. Last night we had the name Brown come up while I was telling this story. You didn't make that up, right? It's very specific. Joseph Brown Ladd. So we never know what we're going to actually. This was about maybe 3 weeks ago. I'm telling the story, and the name Amanda shows up, and they all like, oh, very cool. And medicine showed up. So it's kind of like you cannot make that. It is what it is. What else is going on? So the story that she's telling, and the reason why I'm giving you the word born on there is something relevant. They were all staring at a sign just inside the cemetery. It says there's no ghost at St. Philip's besides the Holy Ghost. There's a reason for it. They don't want guys like me going around trying to investigate because of this specific story. 1888, a young lady named Sue Howard Hardy, she died 6 days after her stillborn child. Getting born. 1987, we have a local photographer taking pictures of all the cemeteries. He's putting a book together. He captures a full apparition. A woman wearing a shawl and a baby basket next to her. It's 1987. This isn't a cell phone. There's no technology of Photoshop. We sent it to Kodak. That's where we used to take pictures to get developed. Just so the two of you know. You're probably old enough to know Kodak. So Kodak can't debunk the picture either. So again, this stuff is like gold for guys like me because it's solid evidence. However, the picture is cursed. So, when I give you the link to this story, there's a heated warning of females, please don't handle this on your cell phone. You don't look at it on a computer screen, don't handle it. You'll probably start to feel the same things that I told you about in the big jumps, the nausea, the dizziness. Females that are pregnant holding this are not going to have a good pregnancy. That's the legend. So, I don't show the picture on purpose. It's in your notes, but there is a word of caution there. Somebody's going to have a really great time on their vacation and call me 9 months from now. That ain't going to happen. I'm not going to be that guy. No. So that's the whole reason why they all go up there, but they drag out that story for a long time. There's so many stories out there.
Yeah, oh, and Sundays are free all day.
Two things about this. First off, this is where the natives stay on this side. It is just two sides to it. So all the native things on this side, everybody else is on the other side. So the 17th vice president, he's on the other side. They moved his first office to the second time, trying to figure out where he's supposed to go. So I want to say it was 3 times that he moved. Did you guys see the burning gas past the cemetery? So that's what we call the pirate house. It's just so. That's because I'm a teacher. I am teaching professor history. So that burning gas lamp, that's the pirate house. Anchor on the front of it, you can't miss it. Somebody lives there. You don't go in his backyard looking for ghosts, he gets pissed. Don't ask me how I know. This is so I can get your minds going on pirates, because we are going to investigate the gas female pirate across the street. This other guy's going to be a lot louder than this, so I apologize for that. The pirate house is where Blackbeard's men would come off their ships from the docks and have a place to stay. Maybe a few ladies, we keep PG, they're a little younger. So with that said, there was also a whorehouse 1 block away, where Dock Street Theater is now. It's called Planters Day. They dug a tunnel from the pirate house 1 block over to get over to the playhouse and whorehouse. Why the playhouse? Because pirates had really good knots. They would go there and work for a few days in between bartering with the locals. Blackbeard stayed on the ships partying. He never set foot in our sword. Letting the tour guide to the end. So that's all speculation. But that is all trying to get your minds ready to talk about Anne Bonny, who's one twisted female pirate. So you guys have heard that name before? What's that?
Probably just an imposter.
On the radio?
Something like that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Where are we going?
I'm gonna go to the pirate area.
Back to work. So, alright. Final place we're going to be diving ourselves into. This story has a lot of holes in it, so that's why it's a level 3. You guys are here to get me some answers. I've read 4, 5, 6 books on this woman, trying to figure it all out. And literally, the story I'm going to tell you is literally comprised of just the things that are common among those books, because these books are all over the map. So, let's start off with the history of the building first. The building with the crosses on it. That's the powder magazine of gunpowder for 7 different wars. So, those aren't crosses, by the way. Those are earthquake bolts. Earthquake bolts, the gist of those, because of our earthquake in 1886, we had a little scared. So, if we had another earthquake, those bolts are basically turnbuckles. Basically tighten them up, and it's supposed to straighten the building back up again. The building behind it, which is apartments, also has them, but it's in between the floors instead of the roof. So you can't see them very well from this distance, but as we get closer, you'll notice that concept doesn't work. I talked to a lot of Californians, obviously because it's you guys are this way, so I'm not screaming over. But there's a whole different concept. Why guys really lying? Alright, so cool thing about this building. This is the oldest government building we have on the East Coast. It was finished in 1713. It took a whole decade to build, so keep that in mind. The gist of this building is because this is where the Charlestown Wall was that I told you guys about earlier. It's right up Cumberland Street. It went up about half a block past the powder magazine and then started going south towards the battery. It's literally tucked into the pocket of the corner of the Charlestown Wall. The reason being is it's the furthest way it could be from the water, 3 blocks away. So if a cannonball penetrates those walls, first off, they're 32 inches thick. It's going to be pretty hard to do that. If it does and explodes the gunpowder inside, there is sand in the roof from 1712. It's supposed to blow the sand up, and the sand will fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. Great concept. That doesn't work either. So we had another powder magazine that failed in doing so, closer to the edge, like closer to the battery. So obviously, if you know our geography, it's much skinnier down there. So that one failed. This one never got attacked. So it's still here. It's a museum now. Very cool museum if you're in history. It's only about $5 a head to get in. Very short, 30-minute tour. It's obviously a small one. So, 1708, which is about midpoint of when this building was being put together, a young lady moves here. Now, this gets a little twisted, so try to follow me on. This one's a little nuts. A young lady moves here named Anne Cormack from Ireland with her dad, his mistress, who happens to be her mother, trying to get away from his wife. You guys with me on that?
No.
Okay. Anne Cormack, young lady. Her dad, his mistress, that's her mom. So there's that triangle. The 3 of them getting away from his wife. How pissed was that lady that they had to move from Ireland to the United States in 1708? It wasn't even the United States then. It was the new country. So, again, she was pretty angry. Alright, so she's obviously here when this building is being finished, and there's not much left here that's obviously still relative and familiar. She becomes a teenager as this building is completed. Now we're talking 1714, 1715. Pirates are coming through town. Now it gets exciting. So pirates are coming through town. She falls in love with one of them. Of course she does. They're filthy pirates. Who doesn't want a filthy pirate as a boyfriend? Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. This guy's name is James Bonny. She runs away with James Bonny to Jamaica to get married. And now she becomes Anne Bonny. When she gets there, she wanted Captain Jack Sparrow. This is not what she got. This is a privateer, which basically means he's a spy for the British. In her mind, he is a coward. This is not who she wanted at all. So she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, aka Calico Jack. We will refer to him as Calico Jack the rest of the story. So it's not John and Jack, and we're like, who the hell is who? There's a lot of J names. But trust me, I do it myself. Which one was which? So Jack, he is the Captain Jack Sparrow type. He's young, he's handsome, and we call him Calico Jack because he wears the clothing of the men he kills. Most of them are from the British, so he's getting all of these really cool, royal clothes. He's not clean, but at least he's got cool clothes. So he's got his own ship, and she wants to be part of it. He says, okay, female, that cursed pirate ship, so you want to be part of my crew? You have to dress like a guy. She's okay with this. Dad used to hide her in his attorneyship back in Ireland to keep her away from his wife back in Ireland. She's okay with this cross-dressing bit when Jack brings him. So she's a guy on the crew, but she's allowed to be a female in his quarters. Of course, she's a female in his quarters. Eventually, she gets pregnant. What does Jack do? He drops her off in Cuba. You can't have a pregnant dude on the crew, so go have the baby. We'll figure it out when you get back. She comes back, there's no baby. We have no idea what happened to that child. She's also dressed like a female. She no longer gives a damn about hiding her gender. This makes Jack mad. She goes, by the way, I'm going to point out, she's still Anne Bonny. Stop right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, she's still married.
She is. Calico Jack tried to buy the dowry from James Bonny. He refused. He already knew what her reputation was. He was cool, but whatever. So anyway, she goes down below Jack. She's going to flirt with the other pirate crew that Jack just captured to make Jack jealous. The guy she's flirting with reveals his gender to be a female, pretending to be a male to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. I dare you to try to do that. It's twisted. I told you, there's a lot of twists and turns in this one. So we're on guy number 3. So this female, her name is Mary Reed. Reed like a book, just so you know the spelling. So Mary Reed is obviously a captive. She convinces her to become part of the crew. And now we have 2 female pirates on the crew dressed like females. The British fleet finds out where they are and they roll in. It's literally the entire British fleet attacking the ship, and the other men are too drunk to come up. They're watching the other captives. So it's literally Anne Bonny, Mary Reed trying to fight off the whole crew. Like the whole British fleet, not the crew. So yeah, obviously the ship gets captured, including Calico Jack. Anne Bonny's last words to Calico Jack were, "You should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog." The word dog shows up here quite often as well. So, those men, including Calico Jack, that were down below deck, they're all tried and hung pretty quickly by Chief Justice Nicholas Laws back in Jamaica. He wants to see Anne Bonny and Mary Reed separately. He doesn't know they're female. They reveal their gender in front of him. He doesn't care. You're still pirates. They're still going to hang you. So they leave their bellies, which basically means they were both claiming to be pregnant. Which means their hanging got delayed. Send them back to jail. Dad's still here in Charleston with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne Bonny and brings her back home. Allegedly, what we know from there is that she remarried again, has 4 more kids, and dies at the age of 84. Again, common facts only. What happens to Mary Reed? A year later, she died from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. It's probably bumpy, gross, oozy, whatever imagination piece you want to use.
Scurvy?
What's that?
Scurvy?
More than likely. More than likely. So there are a lot of depictions of this story. Ask whatever you want to. I will point out I did not give you 2 names. Anne Bonny's mother and the name of Calico Jack's ship. So I did that on purpose so you have at least something to get you all started as far as your spirit boxes go. This is a place where my thermal imaging camera likes to give me glitches. Where I turn blue, this is one of those locations. I've also seen it where a white film went over the person with the red spirit box and that stopped working. So again, we get a lot of weird glitches with the thermal imaging camera here. As far as the lasers go, if you want to go to the front of the building, as long as the lasers don't go above the red roof into the apartments, you're good to go up there and take pictures as well. Same with you on the thermal imaging camera. We will wrap up here on the side where I'll give you, those 2 answers and see what else has come up. Have we gotten any extra words out of you before we kind of separate?
Since Jesus is cast, submit, Logan, art, could, pillow, helpful, sad, fall, forgive, succeed, multiple,
Nothing. I got absolutely nothing. So, I think we have 3 terms so far that are possibilities, probably one of them, 30 being another. And obviously Jesus is relevant because of where we were. So, but yeah, let's see what we can capture here. Turn up the spirit boxes, turn up that REM pod, let's see what we get. And let me know what happens. I'm going to start bouncing around with all of you one by one. Or 3 by 4.
Ask some questions. What was the name of Calico Jack's ship? What did it say? What was Mary Reed's mother's name? What happened to the first child that was born in Jamaica.
So just so you know, this is normally a dead zone for the EMF.
It's going bonkers. You want me to turn it back on? I got scared. It's scared. It's World War II. I know, but.
The big numbers that are on the red screen, this is normally a dead zone for that.
Okay.
So if you get anything, that's a good thing. Not to mention move. Oh, you got it. Move over.
Oh, I do? You think
There
that's
you
why
go.
it's going crazy?
Possibly. So there's different units of measure for EMF. One of them I like to use milligauss. That's the British term. So we use Tesla, it's the American term. Milligauss is just way more easier to read because there's only one decimal point. So the rest of it is. It's a good. It's scary.
Got too scared.
Oh my
So
god.
when you're, one of the reasons too why I like to do it with
I'm not a witch, I'm your wife.
Oh my god.
wife texting. Princess Bride fans? No? Don't know what that is?
Yeah, I watched that the other day.
So obviously if the witch comes out, I'm not a witch, I'm your wife.
Yeah.
So obviously movie guy, right? So the reason why I like to use devices, especially when people are scared, this device, you're in control. You're controlling this network. So no matter shut it off. It's a matter of getting them to answer and using it as a communication device. If somebody's here with us, get close to this metal, the black box with this metal rod. We don't want to say the actual term, pneumonia or so it's just very basic terms. Come to the red light, touch the metal stick. You know, it's very simple stuff. So let me know if that thing glitches. Are you still recording?
Yeah, I'm still recording.
If somebody here comes to the red light, stand in front of me and touch the metal pole. What did Mary Reed die from? How did Mary Reed die? Once here, come in front and touch the metal pole. Come in front to where the red light is. What was your pirate name? What were the two lady pirates' names? How many babies were ever on the pirate ship? That's 99 bananas.
Okay, stop. What was the name of your ship?
How much was your bill to get out of jail?
What happened to your baby in Jamaica?
Uh-oh.
I want to say this is the one that where it skipped on me. It turned navy blue. And then it cut off. And they didn't realize it cut off. I was trying to remember what night it was.
Happy birthday, Dale. I'm singing to you.
I've had it cut off a couple times.
Like, what do you mean cut off?
Like, I'll be recording my mom or something,
Mhm.
and she'll be right there, and then as I'm recording her, she'll like move out of frame.
Because it'll calibrate the temperatures.
Oh,
So it's going
okay.
to do that like once every 3 minutes or so, sometimes even more often.
Okay.
I don't think it's it.
So you can go in front. Like,
Yeah, but we'll wrap it up back here. Because I like to get a bunch of work away.
is there?
Yeah, if there's people standing there, that's another tour. Just, we're noisy. I like to stay out of the way.
Yeah.
Did it say Judy again?
Yeah, see, I keep hearing Judy. That's because you got a big old Judy. No, Judy's trying to come through.
Judy,
Judy booty, calm down.
did I get anything on this big number? A little bit of movement. Nothing crazy though, huh?
Nothing too crazy.
We are close to parking meters too.
That's true.
So, yeah, I don't like to make things up for you guys.
What's the bigger window?
2.5 and higher. Like I said, I've seen it like all the way to 116 is the highest I've seen it. Last night it actually went to 100 at the 15 actually. As soon as we walk in, it was 100 and back on 8. 5, what I'm seeing. It's a little bit of a. Did we lose mom and dad out of their group?
Yeah.
I thought I
Maybe
seen
behind here.
Might be.
You can put it
They like to stop right here.
Yeah, we saw them earlier.
We're done.
It went like out to the front, yeah.
Alright, are you guys getting anything on yours? Because we're not getting much on theirs.
No, not really.
Alright, let's go grab mom and dad and we'll get this wrapped up.
Okay.
We'll actually move over here. Yeah, those doors just stop right there. Big business. These guys have been
Probably
doing this,
because you've been, really like
but it's different. They won't go to the extent that I'm going because they're larger corporations. They go to larger groups. You know, the tour guides are all higher. They're reading the script.
What's up, then?
So, for me, it's the stories are memorized, but I don't know. It's hard to admit, like, they're really good. Or some of them, I see them like that.
Sorry.
Just trying to fake us out over here. You guys get some pictures with the lasers in front? Cool. Awesome. Alright, so we're not getting much here, I'll be quite honest. So this was kind of like a 50-50 tour. It's like between middle and left. So I'm going to have to hopefully, fingers crossed, I don't like to hide anything from you guys. If there's other tours that are like, oh, this was about mediocre, I would say this was mediocre. This is about average amount of pieces that I expect in real time. But this is, again, between mediocre and light. So just based on the words and phrases that I've heard, I was excited because we heard red from the very start, and I was like, okay, now we have crop. Let's see what else kind of comes out. So I'll dive into it in the morning. I go through it for about 2 hours, but with the amount of devices out, you guys are going to have about 7 hours worth of data, 7 hours plus. So I don't normally look at time frames, but I checked to make sure that I was still recording, just to make sure there's no blips. We were about an hour and 45 minutes, so times that by at least 3 devices, plus a ton of links that I'm going to give you anyway, even if the data isn't there. So that way you can know more about Aunt Bonnie, you can know more about the doctor, you know, the Pinkley Mansion site. Some of the articles I wrote, some of them are going to be a lot of outside sources. So that's where that kind of stuff comes from. What questions do you guys have for me as I collect the devices? Well, they go in order. Hang on, don't be giving them just yet. The wife bought me new cases, so I tried to help out, but they only go in a certain way. So, bless her heart, she tries. And
And whenever I need new patches attached, her and my mother-in-law jump on board and work on it together, because Canvas apparently is not easy to work with. So, but yeah, I got my Fort Sumter patch on the back, and Ghost Lives Matter, and
Oh, that's cute.
let's see. Let's start with the phones. Who's got a phone? You have a phone. So last word you had, laughter. That's great. Talking about kick-ass pirates and are laughing at us. Awesome. And look, I got laughter. Look at that. Awesome. I take your camera. Nice job. So